At an international ice cream competition held in Italy, judges ran blind taste tests, scoring every entry purely on texture, ingredient quality, and flavor. No brand names, no marketing, just the product itself. When the results came in for the best caramel ice cream, the winner was not a storied European artisan. It was a family company from a small town in Ontario, Canada. Their salty caramel crunch beat out some of the most respected ice cream makers in the world, and almost nobody outside of Canada saw it coming. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how a company that started with 4 employees and 2 used trucks grew into one of Canada's largest food manufacturers, and why it's still standing while so many others sold out. In 1973, David and Penny Chapman moved to Markdale, Ontario, a small village south of Georgian Bay, and decided to build an ice cream company from scratch. Getting into dairy in Canada is not simple. The country runs on a strict quota system, meaning you cannot just buy large quantities of raw milk on the open market. To solve that problem, David and Penny bought an existing local operation called the Maypole Dairy, which transferred and established milk supply directly into their name. What followed was one of the most stripped-down launches in Canadian food industry history. 4 employees, 2 used delivery trucks, 15 flavors, and packaging that immediately made grocery store buyers uncomfortable. Chapman's put their ice cream in stark black 2-liter boxes at a time when the entire dairy industry used light colors and soft pastels to signal freshness. But David and Penny had made a decision that would define everything that came after. They would use 100% Canadian milk and cream in every recipe. That commitment gave consumers a reason to ask for the product by name, and eventually grocery stores had no choice but to stock it. Through the 1980s, Chapman's pushed into new product categories. Their first premium line launched in 1980. Sorbet arrived in 1985. Then in 1989, they introduced frozen yogurt, and they were the only manufacturer in the country producing it at the time. That gap handed them a nationwide advantage, and Chapman's became the top-selling frozen yogurt brand in Canada. In 1994, their vanilla ice cream sandwich quickly became the best-selling single-serve novelty product across the country. Making ice cream at industrial volume requires precise temperature control and careful management of how air gets worked into the mixture. Getting all of that right at a scale of roughly 53 million liters per year takes serious engineering. To prevent the ice crystal damage that comes from partial melting and refreezing, Chapman's built a 140,000 square foot distribution center near Markdale and a second facility in New Brunswick. Around 50 refrigerated trucks log over 3 million kilometers every year, keeping product cold from factory to freezer aisle. In the late 1990s, Penny Chapman received a letter from a 10-year-old boy with a severe peanut allergy. He explained that he had never been able to safely eat ice cream at his own birthday parties because standard facilities always carry a risk of cross-contamination. A multinational company would have filed that letter away. But Chapman's was independent and family-owned. In 1999, they launched North America's first guaranteed peanut and nut-free ice cream line, restructured their factory floor, introduced strict safety protocols, and added clear labeling. That decision created a level of consumer loyalty that no marketing campaign could buy. They followed it with lactose-free, gluten-free, egg-free, and no added sugar lines, building a reputation among families with dietary restrictions that their larger competitors simply could not match. Then on September 4, 2009, a welder's spark started a fire at the Markdale facility. Industrial quantities of sugar and dairy fat burned fast and hot. The main manufacturing building was destroyed. 36 years of physical infrastructure were gone, but the dry warehouse and distribution center survived, which meant Chapman's could keep supplying stores while they rebuilt. David and Penny kept paying their employees full wages throughout the entire process. 7 weeks after the fire, a temporary production line was running. Then, exactly 1 year later, on September 4, 2010, a brand new facility called Phoenix opened its doors. It was over 160,000 square feet, nearly twice the size of what had burned down, and it allowed the company to hire up to 100 new workers. That same commitment to employees carried into the pandemic. Chapman's did not lay off anyone when lockdowns hit, and workers received permanent raises to help manage the sudden economic pressure. The company also opened its industrial freezers to local health authorities to store vaccines requiring ultra-cold temperatures during the initial rollout. When new United States tariffs created added costs across the supply chain, Chapman's responded by sourcing certain ingredients elsewhere and absorbing a portion of the increased costs rather than passing all of it to customers. Then, in 2023, Chapman's went after a market it had never seriously competed in. The premium end of the freezer aisle had long belonged to brands like Haagen-Dazs and Ben & Jerry's. Chapman's launched Super Premium Plus with a butterfat content of around 16%, producing a richer and denser product than their standard lines. New flavors included Salty Caramel Crunch, Vanilla Trilogy, Cookie Jar, cherry cheesecake, and cold brew coffee. At the competition in Italy, Salty Caramel Crunch took the top prize for caramel ice cream. Cherry cheesecake won silver. Cold brew coffee won bronze for innovation. Chapman's also took home Best Ice Cream Maker of the Year. Today, the company employs around 850 people, produces over 280 frozen products, and operates a national distribution network built entirely in-house. It has never been sold to a multinational. It has never moved production offshore. It started with 4 employees and 2 trucks in a small Ontario village, survived a fire that wiped out its factory, held its workforce together through a global pandemic, and then flew to Italy and beat some of the best ice cream makers in Europe. So, here's what we want to know. Have you tried Super Premium Plus? Do you think Chapman's is actually the best ice cream in Canada right now? Drop your answers in the comments below. And if you want more stories about the real decisions and strategies behind the brands you use every day, subscribe to High Street Business.